right, what's going on, everybody? At 84 here, the baseball fanatic for this week's episode. We are going to be talking about a stadium that still exists but does not have baseball anymore. And it was one of the interesting baseball stadiums that I had been to, and it was the third baseball stadium that I had been to overall. And I believe it was the third one. Let's see. It was Fenway, Shea, Orioles. No, it was the fourth stadium I've been to. Fourth stadium I went to. It was, I tell you exactly the day it was. It was in August of 2005. I had just turned 21. Me and my buddies went down to Florida for the week. We spent a couple nights in Miami. We got free tickets. We were just hanging out on the beach. They gave us free tickets. 2005. I'm sorry. Today's the 6th. I said 2005. Yeah, 2005. Free tickets. This lady goes, "You want tickets for the game, for the Marlins game tonight?" Value on it was $1. We were going to the game anyways. We figured we were going to go anyways. Might as well check it out. So we went all the way down to the stadium, which is not exactly close to South Beach where we're staying. Went to the game. Tickets worked. We got in. Boom. Here we are. Dolphins Stadium. Now, I'd never been there for a football game before. It was actually the first time I was ever there. I'd been there years later for football, but for baseball, one and only time I've ever seen baseball there. And when I walked into this place, it was the first time I'm into one of these stadiums that are still being used right now. Even though Shea Stadium was used for football for many years, this was the stadium that was actively being used for baseball and football. So the football season was starting to come along. At this point, it was preseason. So the field was still in decent shape for baseball. Now, terrible place for baseball. I'll tell you that right now. I know why they have played baseball. I know this was a temporary fix in 1993. They were like, we're going to put them there. We'll build them a stadium. They didn't build them a stadium for 20 years later, which is ridiculous. Not to mention, there's not much of a demand for baseball in South Florida, but for the most part, the Miami Marlins have won 2 World Series. People forget about this. 2 World Series against very dominant teams. Against the Indians, they beat, and they beat the Yankees. Okay, these are 2 solid teams they had beaten over the years. People forget about. No one goes to these freaking games. I don't understand. I don't understand the disconnect of why baseball isn't as popular as it is. Is it too expensive? I don't know. Is it one of those things where people just rather watch football down there? They rather into college? I don't know. Who knows? It is a pain in the ass to get to any of these stadiums in Florida because they put them in terrible locations. And Florida is one of those states which it's a newer, modernized state where nothing's walking distance. They don't have walking areas. And even areas you can walk, you got to drive to that place to walk, and then you got to walk. So I get it. I understand the whole logistics of it. It's not like Boston or Detroit or Chicago where you put a stadium right downtown and people just figure out a way to get there. It doesn't work that way. Public transportation sucks in Florida. You can't get to games by train or anything like that. If you're in South Beach to get to a Marlins game, that means you have to leave the beach, you drive, it's 2 hours, pain in the ass. There's no bus. There's probably a bus, but there's no train or anything. There should be something that takes you there easily. Just said. I tried to go to a Miami Heat game once, and I drove in there about a half hour before the game. Couldn't find a parking spot. The ticket was only $5. I said, screw it. I'm not even going to bother because it was impossible for me to find a spot. It was ridiculous. So that said, now it's called Hard Rock Stadium. Hard Rock Stadium in it's the Miami Gardens, Florida. It was built in 1985. It broke ground, opened in 87. So realistically, it's not that old of a stadium. But and it's funny because it hit open in 87 for the Dolphins, and 5 years later, all of a sudden they had baseball there. But they played everything from tennis to football, baseball. It was a bunch of stuff there. So as for baseball, though, it's not. It's like Oakland, right? It's a very pitcher friendly. There's a lot of foul ground, if you will, for this park, right? But not to mention, it's not much of the stadium. The stadium it's kind of garbage. It was orange seats. They had a hot tub in right field. No one was there. Everyone who sat was pretty much, in between. We sat in our seats, which were out in left field or right field, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. We eventually migrated out. But I'll tell you a funny story about this park, and this was one of the funniest things I'll remember. So we got to the stadium. I'm with myself, my cousin, 2 of my best buddies who are brothers. And one of them doesn't drink, so he drove us down there. I was already half in the back from partying in South Beach all day. We went to a Carrabba's, which there used to be a Carrabba's right on South Beach. We went there for lunch. I had a few cocktails. Went to the Packy, got a case of beer, pounded them back. Went to the game, had a few. Joey, my best buddy, who's the brother that was driving us, who doesn't drink, had his shirt off behind home plate. He was flicking around the air, having a great time. Me and my cousin, on the hand, took a different approach. We went downstairs to the lower deck, and there was this cute girl working the credit card table. and she was giving out free stuff, right? So she's like, if you sign up for a credit card, I'll give you a towel, right? So we're like, all right, so I'll sign up for a credit card towel. And I'm like, well, I get my information. How about you give me your information? We started talking. She was living, I don't know, she was in, I don't know the cities back then. She was in Fort Lauderdale. We were going back to Miami. That's pretty far apart, I guess. I learned that years later. It's like an hour and a half apart or something. But her name was Carmen. I'll never forget. I was talking to her. This is where in my younger days, I was not very aware of how women work and their flirtation ways and how to, sell stuff, right? Like bartenders, for example. And if obviously girls selling credit cards wants us to sign up. So, I'm signing up thinking, hey, I think she likes me. No, it doesn't work that way. And it was too naive to even know that back then. And now I look back at 20 year later, Adi, and I shame on you for not paying attention because I thought I had it in. That come meet us in the clubs. Come to Miami with us. It'll be fun. Didn't hear from her. I'll tell you that much. We finally met up with Joey, who was behind home plate with no shirt on. A fun fact about this game, other than the fact that we were, bamboozled a little bit by the ladies, was that it was on Mike Lowe's unassisted triple play game. Okay. Now I'm gonna go over here to the Wayback Machine, and I'll tell you the exact date. Mike Lowell unassisted triple play. Now Mike Lowell was a guy who played for the Red Sox. He also played third base for the Marlins. Let's see, unassisted triple play. Who were they playing that game? It's a good question. Let's see. Mike Lowell unassisted triple play 2005. I'm gonna put there. God, I don't know the date. Oh, right here. Low performs a hidden ball trick. Maybe it was the hidden ball trick. So maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't an unassisted triple play. Maybe it was a hidden ball trick. Because I'm looking at a date right here. Now I'll have to go way back into the archives here. Now the date here says it was August 10th, 2005, which would have been a game in which I was at. Could have been. I was around that time period. Now I'm trying to figure out what exactly the date was and who they were playing. Let's see. It looks like they were playing the Braves, maybe? No, they're playing the Cardinals. I mean, the Arizona Diamondbacks. All right, so maybe it wasn't an unassisted triple play. Maybe it was, in fact, the hidden ball trick. All these years, I was thinking it was the hidden ball trick. I mean, the unassisted triple play game. And it was a hidden ball trick. Mike had the ball in his hand the entire time, and he tagged him out on third. I mean, it makes sense, the date. And when I Google unassisted triple play, and you got Tony Clock too, which is funny. Nothing pops up. But you think like a plethora of stuff would come up. Now, Mike Lowe does have this. All right, maybe this is where I was mixed up on it right there. He does have the team's first ever triple play, and it happened on July 20th, 2002. So, all right, the hidden ball trick. Sorry, I got my memory stuck. I was too busy on the girl that was giving me a credit card to remember exactly what game. It was 20 years ago. Give me a break. Yeah, okay. 20 years ago. That next time I went to that stadium, I went there 2 more times, and it was for football, and that was it. That's the last time I've been there. So 3 times altogether. Once for baseball, 2 for football. Mike Lowell hidden ball trick against the Arizona Diamondbacks. That was the team. It was on the 10th, and I did not hear from the girls telling me the cards. Stadium, one of the worst I've ever been to. It was a dump. It was terrible for baseball. Horrific for baseball. These multi-use stadiums should be non-existent anymore. They should never do this anymore. And they don't do it anymore, which is a good thing because it's terrible. It's terrible for the game. It's terrible for the sport. You cannot make a football field, a baseball field to have the same feeling that you do with a true baseball field ever. It's never going to happen. It's never going to work. The only way you can do it is if you do it for football into a baseball field, but you're still not going to have that same feeling for a football game because you're going to be too far away at certain points. Unless you bring seats in, it looks ridiculous. So I'll leave it at that. Thank God the Marlins don't play that anymore. I can't believe the Marlins are still in Florida. I can't believe there's still a team down there. I was really hoping that the Marlins would go to the American League back when the Astros went, because in 2015 in Back to the Future, Miami does play the Cubs in the World Series. And when they went over, it was 2012 or 2013, the Astros, that is. And I was like, wow, if the Marlins went, then Back to the Future really could come true. The Marlins could play the Cubs in the World Series. It's funny that the Cubs did go to the World Series a year later in 2016, but who knew? What can we do, right? We don't have DeLoreans. Can't do that. But for football, it's fine. They added that new roof. I haven't been there since they added the new roof. I hear it's cool. They got rid of the orange seats. They replaced them with blue. Baseball, I'm missing much. It's kind of a dump. The new stadium is better for the most part, but it's just not used as well as it should be. So, the Miami Marlins, Florida Marlins, as I remember them, I remember having a starter jacket when I was a kid for the Florida Marlins with those cool, like turquoise colors and everything like that. That was where it's at. My mom used to give me these outfits. I had a whole outfit. I had a Ricardo Rockies outfit, and I had a Florida Marlins outfit. Shorts matched the shirt, all that stuff. Didn't have a Red Sox one. It was a little weird. They my mother got my TJ Maxx or Marshalls or something like that. And if they were expansion teams, so they're probably just really pushing it out, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, if you ever been to that stadium for baseball, let me know. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts of that stadium were. It's not really that good of a stadium for baseball, and even football is kind of questionable too. So that's my opinion. Don't hate me on it. If you're a Marlins fan, if you're like the Marlins guy, I get it. You have special feelings for it. It's cool. People say shit about Fenway all the time, and I just like it stuff. But other than that, thank you guys for watching this episode of the Baseball Fanatic. We'll be back next week with some more stadium talk. I've been 60 stadiums, Major League and minor league, so I'll have plenty to talk about. The minor league ones are a little sketchy because I don't remember those ones quite as well, because a couple Bears or two. Kind of forget that really easily. But we'll go through the list and I'll refresh my memory. I'm sure it'll come back to me. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Baseball Fanatic 584.